Hey guys, let's look at in Chapter 2, page 39 in the current textbook, Lab 2-4, called What is Missing? And I want to read the paragraph to you of the description of the problem. Then we're going to work through it. So that'll give you an idea again of how IPO charts work, what to look for, that's input and output, what a processing item is, and then again, ordering algorithmic steps. A local club sells boxes of 3 types of cookies: shortbread, pecan, sandies, and chocolate mint. The club leader wants a program that displays the percentage that each of the cookie types contributes to the total cookie sales. For example, if the club sells 50 boxes of shortbread cookies, 25 boxes of pecan sandies, and 45 boxes of chocolate mint cookies, the shortbread cookies account for approximately 41.7% of cookie sales. Pecan sandies and chocolate mint cookies account for approximately 20.8% and 37.5% respectively. Then they give you a picture that contains a list of items and instructions that you can use for the lab. First, we're going to enter the appropriate input and output items, processing if any, and then we're going to determine if we have any missing items from that list. We're going to kind of work through this a little bit different than the instructions layout, but we're going to get to the same answer. Then we're going to put the instructions shown in the figure, which are now on my screen, in the correct order so that we can have this execute correctly and then figure out if we're missing anything. All right, so the first thing we are going to do is, looking at that description, determine what's input, what's output, what might be processing item if we're there yet. I have on my screen on the left a column for input and output items, and at the bottom I have the 6 items that are listed according to the textbook, and they have 6 items: chocolate mint contribution, chocolate mint sold, shortbread contribution, shortbread sold, pecan sandies contribution, and pecan sandies sold. So the contribution according to the instructions above say the club leader wants a program that displays the percentage of cookie type each cookie type contributes to the total sales. So we know that anything that says contribution with it is going to be output. Oh. So of course, when I thought my little boxes would move over, there we go. Let's see if I can get this one to move over. There we go. We're going to put them in the output column. So all of these are cookie contribution types, and they are output according to the instructions given. Okay. Input is going to be what you have the user enter. Remember, it has to be entered, typed in by the user. It's input. So we're going to have to ask the user, well, how many chocolate mint cookies did you sell? How many shortbread cookies did you sell? And how many pecan sandies did you sell? Okay, so of the 6 things given under the items in the picture problem on page 39, we have 3 input, 3 output. So we're going to kind of hold that right there now, because of all that they've given us, that's all we can declare as input or output. Now let's move down to the instructions. So here are the instructions on the screen. There are 6 given in your, or 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your book. You have 5 up here on the screen. 2 of them have to do with, 3 of them have calculate on them. 2 are enter and display. Now, as I've already shared with you in other videos, in this class, generally programs are going to start with enter. We're going to put that first, and end with display. And in the middle somewhere, you're going to do some calculations, right? So just because we know that from the structure of previous algorithms, we're going to keep that structure here. Having said that, basically you have now a correct program because of how the steps were given to you. You have the enter shortbread sold, pecan sandies sold, and enter chocolate mint sold. All of those are inputs and we have them in the correct column. Then I have abbreviations of the calculations for each of the contribution amounts. So we can determine chocolate mint contribution, pecan sandies contribution, shortbread contribution, and we have those as outputs. So that matches up. And it matches up with what's displayed. So we've used these variables. They're in the correct column as output because we're going to display them down here. So at this point, calculate chocolate mint contribution, pecan sandies contribution, shortbread contribution. While these are used in a calculation statement, they are also displayed items, and that makes them output items. So let's look a little closer to make sure we're not missing anything. We have enter shortbread, pecan sandies, and chocolate mint sold. Those are good. We need those to come in from the user and we have them in the correct output column. Then let's look at the calculate statements. We have chocolate mint sold. Okay, we know that's an input variable divided by total sold. Now, where do we see total sold? We're not displaying it. It's not entered. How do we get total sold? Well, as you and I both know, total amount is something that you have to add up. So when you see the word total, be suspicious that you might have to add in or add something up to arrive at that number. So we're going to have to go back up here. Let's insert in our text box. And I'm going to line it up right here because we're going to need to calculate total sold. So we're going to go total sold equals shortbread sold pecan sandies sold and chocolate mint sold. All right, so now we have a number that can go here. So the user can enter in shortbread, pecan sandies, and mint chocolate chip. If we calculate the total sold based on those numbers, then the following calculations will work because we have an amount to go in the total sold field. Now, you could say, well, why doesn't the user enter total sold? Why should they? They've got to enter shortbread, pecan sandies, and chocolate mint sold. We need those numbers entered. So we're not going to have them enter total sold because we can calculate it. So we got to go back to our input-output chart, and we're going to add a processing item. Remember, a processing item is something calculated or used in a program but not entered. So total sold would go here because we're going to calculate that from the input item. So I put out here total sold calculated just so you and I know that's where we get total sold. Now, yes, there's other ways you could do this program. However, it would be outside of what we should do because we are instructed to use these instructions in the book. Now, again, as in another video I shared with you, sometimes when I automate these type questions so that I don't have to individually grade each one, I ask you to come in here and put little numbers beside things, right? And as you can see, I'm having trouble getting my numbers down. I hate when this happens. So let me do this. There we go. Let's do this. I'll slide these over. This would be box 2. And then we're going to move over here to box 3. And the reason you do it this way is because when I have to automate things, it helps if you have these statement items numbered for answering questions. So here we go. We have 6 statements. We started with 5. We're ending with 6 statements because this statement here was missing. So let's put that in yellow or highlighted. So we were also missing over here the processing item. So 2 things were missing from this equation. The processing item called total sold and the calculate total sold statement.